What is your will, my master?
Hey, what's up, Joseph? This is a quick demo video for you for your Romans Balance V4, right? So I actually got this done yesterday, but we were ironing out your sound fonts and finally got them on here this morning. So this is installed with a Proffie V2. You've got CC sabers in here for your lit PCB. Now this is set up for a recessed blade. That is something that you'll need to do here. A couple reasons for that. One, because this emitter is way too thin to put a regular blade in, so that would never have worked. But also too, because this cup that the PCB is in, it actually screws the emitter down, so there is no taking that cup out of there. You have to utilize that. So you'll need a recessed blade for this. I don't have one to test, so I'll just have to show you that these LEDs light up, and this PCB was tested outside of the saber as well, so everything's in working order there. And then another thing, there's a couple things on this saber actually I wanted to talk to you about, that I talked to you about over text, but sometimes it's easier to use my words, right? So you can see there's no green and red, acrylic pieces right here. Although I do have red and green LEDs behind there, and it lights up accordingly. This kit came with this piece right here that would go, it would, if I can get my fingers right, you would typically want to screw it in right there. But the problem is this is too tall to go in there. It's too long to fit properly. And those two holes on the bottom there that are supposed to line up with those two screws on the control box, they're wider than the screw layout. So, I mean, altogether, this thing was just not going in, right? But it did come with some red and green acrylic pieces that you glue in here, and then you're supposed to mount that to the control box. I'm not sure how people are doing that, since there's no fit to that whatsoever here. So what I had suggested to you over text, and I'll still do it now, is you find someone who's willing to sell you, a red and a green, just those triangle acrylic pieces, maybe from like an old, like an LS Goldwing from Custom Saber Shop or something like that, and then just take them and glue them right in there. You might have to do a little bit of sanding on them to make them fit, but these are all pretty standard sizes, and you shouldn't have too much of an issue getting them to fit. So that's what I would do. Source those red and green acrylic pieces and glue them right in there. I was not able to put in what came with the kit. Okay. Now this saber opens up in two different areas. Well, actually, we're going to talk about your control box too here in a second. But first of all is the pommel, right? So you just unscrew this. This isn't something that you'll have to do unless you want to get to the board. But when you take this off, you'll see your speaker right there. And if you go like this, the speaker will come out. It is a little tight in there. I did that on purpose. You got your speaker PCB in the back, 28 millimeter Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker. And the reason it's tight in here is because I wanted to fully encapsulate that speaker so that the sound shot straight out of it, and it sounds really good, right? It's super loud that way. But the trade-off is it's a little bit tight in there. But if you look in there, you've got access to your micro USB and your SD card. And then, of course, your speaker pogo pins are in there. And then that's how I program the board. You'll need a straight USB data cable to get in there, but it's very easy to do. And then once you're done, you just slap it back in there. I did 3D print a small ring, if you can see that black ring in there, so that it pushes up against the speaker, and it locks everything down. All right. Just like that. So now it's locked down nice and tight. So before I show you the battery compartment and we throw a battery in, your control box. So this control box came with this PCB. This was meant to make the install easier for putting the two tactile switches in, and then the LEDs, everything would go on this PCB. The problem is I don't know that this was necessarily for this saber, because the tactile holes did not line up with your control box holes. So if I take this off and I show you, I've got my 2 tactiles in there and everything's good to go. I had to utilize these 2 holes that were in this brass piece already, right? And this PCB that came with this kit did not do that. So I had to forego using that. No big deal. I just I modeled up my own holder to go inside this control box that holds your 2 tactiles and it holds your 2 LEDs, and everything worked out fine there. So I'll be sending this back to you as well. All right. Now we can get to the battery compartment. What you want to do is unscrew the grenade section. This will come right off, and what you got a 7-pin PCB system right here. You've got a blade side PCB in there that you can see that never comes out, and then a removable battery setup, right? So your spring side is going to be in here. Your battery had to go up inside the Saber a little bit so all this would fit. So removable battery, just says Solo Sabers over here for me. I don't go too crazy trying to put designs on this piece right here because it's super thin already. So I didn't want to, I didn't want to, sacrifice any of the chassis integrity, right? So that's what we did there. So we'll throw a battery in this guy.
Come, little one.
You hear that? That's good to go. Your speaker's in. We'll test that speaker pod accordingly, right? So when we put this in, we want to screw this back in. Make sure it's tight. On all of your sound fonts, I gave you the cave scene for your blinkies. So you'll see that it's blinking back and forth between green and red. And then when the Saber's on, it's green. Now you can see I didn't twist this down all the way and make it tight, so that's why the emitter wasn't going, right? So if we turn it back on and squeeze this tight, now your emitter works. Super loud. Auxiliaries up here. You can twist off, or you can hit activation, which is the back tactile. To get to your sound fonts, just hold down power for 1 second and let go. Do the same thing to turn it off. Hold down for 1 second and let go. And then to change sound fonts, we just want to tap auxiliary.
Scene C.
I did leave all of the stock fonts on here for you, and they all have the cave scene blinkies, right? So we'll cycle through the stock fonts.
Smooth, just smooth, smooth. Scene C. Smooth, smooth, smooth.
Now we're on this one. Test that speaker pod, right? Solid.
I'm Luke Skywalker. Are you a Jedi? I am. Scene C.
Just like that. So everything's working like it should. And then to go take the battery out, it's really easy, right? We'll just unscrew this again. And then you should be able to come over here from the positive side, which is by the pins. And you can pull it out with your finger just like that. And that is your Roman Balance V2. Let me know if you got any questions. And if not, you and I talked about when this will go out in the mail. All right, thanks.